morning. Today is Tuesday at 11. I think that says 11 up there. I've got dredges of coffee, my favorite giant sweatshirt from my grandma, some pajama shorts, and I'm ready to get into some reading. So I am on a mission to finish all the books that are on my bookshelf sitting unread. I've gotten these books over the years, either from buying them or from people giving them to me as a gift. So I thought I would make it a bit of a challenge just so that I can actually accomplish this goal, because I feel like, you know, it's so easy to find new things and to get distracted. And, you know, not that that's bad, because it's like, if you find something you want to do, then you should do it. But, you know, in terms of just specifically these books on my shelf, it's like if I don't read them, they're just gonna sit there forever and I'm gonna forget about them, kind of like how I already have. Or I'm just gonna be like, oh, I really want to read that, and then that's it. I have chocolate on my hand from banana bread. Not bad. I thought I would make it a bit of a challenge to get through all of them and, you know, hopefully document the journey of like what I'm doing in my life when I'm reading each book, and, you know, what I think of them, and some favorite lines and ones maybe I didn't like so much, and, you know, hopefully I like all of them. But yeah, so to get started with, we're just gonna go through the shelf and look at each book and talk about the ones that I'm reading right now. So that's what we're gonna do this morning. Yeah, stay tuned. Let's look at the books. Okay, I've pulled a stack of 5. Actually, this is not 5. I swear I know how to do math, like I really do. This is actually a stack of 7 just to look at first, so I'm not turning back around and everything. Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is a book about magic, and it's really seems just like a cute one. Probably will try to read this in October because it's a little bit witchy. We have A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. I feel like this will have some really good lines in it. I don't know, A Passage to India. I really have no idea what this is gonna be like. Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. I got this book probably 5 years ago and was like, I'm gonna love reading this. I'm gonna be so much smarter after. But I haven't read it, and I just know it would be really good, and I'd be like, I'm glad I read this. Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Book my mom got me. The subtitle of this is How Little Things Can Make a Big Difference. Seems interesting. I've never read a book by Malcolm Gladwell, but I know he's like a really prolific nonfiction writer. Always good to mix it up with a little bit of nonfiction. Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. I've read the short story Interpreter of Maladies and thought it was so good, and I thought her writing was so interesting. So I'm really excited to read some more. A book by Haruki Murakami, which again, kind of similar to Jhumpa Lahiri. I've read a short story by him. I think it's something like Big Frog Takes Tokyo, Super Frog Takes Tokyo, something like that. But people really like his writing. So I got this at the library book sale. I was like, oh, I should read something by him. So we've got this. It's a nice soft paperback too. This one's got a good title. Sex and Rage by Eve Babitz. I know people like her. Again, I saw this at the library book sale. I was like, well, I can't pass by a book titled Sex and Rage. These are all gonna fall over, but it's okay. The Underground Railroad by Colson and Whitehead. My mom actually read this copy of this book before I've gone to it. So I'm jealous, and, you know, I want to read it. Because you just know it's gonna be good. The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. Probably going to be really, really sad, but, you know, really good. Again, Joan Didion, I read like one essay of hers, but she's so well known. It's like, I know this woman. She's supposed to be like an amazing writer, super cool. So yeah, that is probably gonna be a good crier. I feel like with books like this one that are really difficult to read, it's good to like maybe try to read it all in one sitting so you can just like get to the end of it, and that feeling of finishing it before you get too sad. Next I have The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich. I went to college in Minnesota, and Louise Erdrich is a Minnesota author, so I feel like I have to read every book she's published. and I've only read one, but I think this one will be really good. It's, I think, based on her grandfather and what he did, and I'm pretty sure I've read like a couple pages of this, and you know, I just gotta finish it. So, The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich. She, fun fact, has a bookstore in Minneapolis. I think it's Minneapolis that you can go to. Next, we have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I haven't read this yet, and I just know I'm gonna love it. And it is just gonna be such an amazing book to read. Then we have a nonfiction. This is Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver. I've avoided this for a little while because I've had a bit of a hard relationship to food at points in my life, and so I feel like it's easy to try to want to be perfect and like eat everything from a farm, but you know, realistically that's not really how everything works and all of that. But you know, I feel like I'm at a point where I could read this and be inspired and appreciative, and you know, I can always stop reading it if it gets to be too hard. But I like Barbara Kingsolver. I think she's really smart, so she probably has some smart things to say here. This is a nice, well-loved well-loved book with some good coffee stains on it. This is the next stack of what will be, oh my god, I just spilled the coffee on the ground with my foot. I would say we're about halfway through all the books. This is the setup I've got going with the piles and my pillow chair and my spilled coffee. Probably, I don't know what I did wrong, but I did soak it up, so hopefully it's okay. But we're gonna dive back into the books and just kind of ignore that one. Okay, brief intermission with a dog barking. The books are falling, the coffee's spilling. It's time to keep moving on with this. So the next stack of books includes Night by Elie Weisel. This is a very famous book about the Holocaust, about this author's experience during the Holocaust. I actually stole this from a friend of mine in college. I borrowed it from her, and then she left the school, and I still have the book. So I guess to honor her, I have to read this. This, I think, is the same as the Joan Didion one, where you're like, I might just have to read this in like one sitting, so it's not making me feel really sad over like multiple days. But Night by Elie Weisel, I think that's how you would say his name. I will have to look that one up. Then I have If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. This is a novel, but it's written in a very experimental form where it's like questions and answers. This is published also by Minnesota publisher. It's published by Grey Wolf Press, and I got this at a Twin Cities book festival. So I got this probably like almost a year ago, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. So this might also be close to the top of the order. Then I have a gift. I studied abroad in France for a semester, and my second host mom gave me this book as a gift at the end of my semester because I want to be a librarian, and as well as studying French, I studied Arabic, and this book is all in French. I actually have read half of this, but it's a little hard to dedicate yourself to reading a whole book in French, but you know, I think I can do it. I definitely don't understand every single word, but I get the general gist of like the story and all of that. But this is La Librarie du Caire by Nadia Wassef. She is, this book is like a memoir about her time as a bookseller in Cairo, Egypt. This is also translated into English, so if you want to read the book but don't want to challenge yourself to read it all in French, this is also translated into English. Continuing on like the international theme of this stack, we have Antonio Tabucchi. Oh, no. The book is by Antonio Tabucchi. The book is Pereira Maintains. Again, another thing I'm gonna have to look up, which is good. Good to learn how to say new things. This is a really teeny little book. That is about, it's like this Russian translated book about this, I think, kind of crazy doctor. So maybe this is a good October one to be like spooky and weird. This was a book my brother gave me as a Christmas present. Then another book my brother gave me as a Christmas present, I want to say this was the same year, is a collection of Soviet satire titled The Fatal Eggs and Other Soviet Satire. So this is for when you want to read a really odd, funny book. One of the short stories is called About Cows. Yeah, it just seems kind of funny. And very like indie, underground, hipster thing to read. And then this is a book a professor gave to me as a gift. It is Machines Like Me by Ian McEwan. I think this is kind of a speculative fiction, technology and people book, so that will be good when I live in the Bay Area and am surrounded by people who work for Google. Is to whip out something like this at the coffee shop and mark my territory. No, but I think that this will be good. I don't know. Ian McEwan is also the author of Atonement, which I've kind of heard mixed things about. So I'm not positive that I'm gonna like this book, but you know, I might. The next set of books are all by Toni Morrison. Ignoring whatever's happening back there. These books are all by Toni Morrison, and most of them my mom got for me at like library book sales and things like that. And I've read Jazz by her and really loved it. Like some of the passages in that are my absolute favorites. But her books are really challenging to read, like emotionally and all of that. So the first book, Sula, I've actually tried to read this, but found it was too hard to get through for that time. So, you know, it's possible I might pick these books up and put them back down, but this is the type of book that really makes you feel like a reader with, you know, the yellow pages and the chunky text and someone else's annotations in it. Next book in the Toni Morrison collection is, I want to say this is a non-fiction, possibly essay collection called Playing in the Dark, Whiteness and the Literary Imagination by Toni Morrison. So kind of her thoughts not in her novels, I guess. Then I have Beloved by Toni Morrison. Again, yellow pages, chunky text, and this is like, you know, it's gonna be a good book. But sometimes her books are difficult to read, so, you know, maybe not when you're wanting like something light and fuzzy. Then Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. We're done with this shelf. And I have a good little pile around me. I'll count up all of the books by the end. Now we're gonna move on to the lower shelf where I have more books I have to read. Okay, next we're gonna go through kind of my more short stories and a lot of poetry that I have and want to read. So first, this is nonfiction. I'm not sure. So this is a funny little book called The Face of Time Code by Ruth Ozeki. I love her book, A Tale for the Time Being. And this is one, the same professor who got me Machines Like Me gifted me this one. And I think this is a good little book to read in the morning and, you know, kind of have under your belt and think about. And then there I have The Narrow Road to the Deep North and Other Travel Stories by Matsuo Basho. This is a book I got for class and didn't end up reading for the class. So now I just have this secondhand battered old copy that should be really good. It's translated from Japanese. I think this is like a classic Japanese author. Lots of haikus and other prose mixed in. Then I have two kind of poetry collections. This one is a poetry collection. This one is a little bit more experimental that I've read some of but haven't finished. This is also a gift from a professor. I was an English major as well as a math major, which is why I should be able to count. And so when you're an English major, sometimes professors just like to give you books as gifts, which is a good benefit to doing that major. This is Bright Dead Things by Ada Limon. I've read, I think, about 3/4 of this, and all of the poems are really amazing. But I gotta finish it. Then, this is also a book by my brother. He loves to give people kind of literature books, you know, that you maybe wouldn't have thought of for yourself. This is Damn Near Might Still Be Is What It Is by Marcus Scott Williams. This is more of an experimental book. It has photos, it has blacked out pages, it has prose, poetry, all of it. So that one I need to finish. And then this is a recommendation from a professor, The Collected Stories of Grace Paley. I read a few of the sentences in the store and they sounded really good. Then this is a book my mom got me as a present. It is poems by an author I have not heard of. This is like an old library book. It is The Home Place, poems by Marilyn Nelson Weniak. Yeah, should be good brain food right here. This next set of books are ones all of them I've gotten really recently. This is Dreaming of You by Melissa Lozada Oliva. This is a novel in verse, so it's like a novel in poetry. Again, really cool. Sounds awesome. Then selected essays by Robert James Miller titled Old Songs in a New Cafe. Not something I would have thought to get, but it was at the library book sale and my mom said I might like it, or recommended that author. I'm on a mission to find some more short story authors that I might like. So I picked up the Best American Short Stories of 2023, edited by Min-Jin Lee. I thought this would be good because I could read a story, and then if I really love it, I can, you know, bookmark the author and find more things by them, because obviously I need more to read. Not the goal of this, but that's why I got that collection. Then this is a poetry collection called You Are Here, edited by Ada Limon. I read the introduction of this and a few poems, and it seems like this is like her project as the poet laureate of the United States, is to put together a poetry. This is her poetry project, and it's super lovely and cool. Next one is one I'm really excited for. Also probably gonna go near the front of the stack because it's like, might as well read books I'm excited about. It is The Fraud by Zadie Smith. I've read, I think, almost everything she's written, but not this one, and I think it seems interesting and cool, so looking forward to a new Zadie Smith, new words by Zadie Smith, everything I've ever wanted. Final two books are Tom Lake by Ann Patchett and The Logger Queen of Minnesota. So these are good books, I think, to pick up when it's like, I just want to read something and not have to think too much and have a really good time. Both of these were recommended to me by my mom, so shout out to her. I also have a few books on my reader that I, you know, got on there and want to read, so I think I'll go through those too, because I feel like, you know, my goal is to get through all of these, but it's like, you know, there are books on the reader that I also want to read, and, you know, I'll probably read in between these, so I feel like I should introduce them too, just since, you know, the point of this video is to, you know, go through all of them, so then you kind of know what the goal list is. So let me grab that and get it. Okay, we have the reader and its cute case. Let me get it out. Hopefully this isn't like too boring to just listen to all of the different, like, this giant stack of books, but it's like, these are the ones I'm aiming to read, so like in the future the videos will just be like reading the books and, you know, where I am when I'm reading them and good quotes and reviews and all of that. But we're just gonna go through the whole list today. I do recommend the reader. Like, I obviously love a physical book, and, you know, like some books you just want to have like in your hands, like all of these Toni Morrison books that like have these little old pages, and, you know, you kind of want to have those around you, but it also is nice to read things on the e-reader because you can take it with you anywhere. Books are cheaper on here. You can check them out from the library really easily, so I do also recommend these. I'm just gonna read these out because is this interesting to look at? Like, you can't see that. So the first one is The Paper Menagerie and Other Stories by Ken Liu. And then Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. Good Material by Dolly Alderton. Children of Blood and Bones, which is the first book of a series by Tomi Adeyemi. Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This book is giant, but I got it and I want to read it, or at least try to. Like, if it's truly unreadable to me, I will not make myself read the whole thing, but might as well try. And then To Have and to Hold, which is the first of a series like based on Jane Austen novels by an author called Christy Rose. A cute little romance, just maybe to mix it up when I'm trying to read Les Mis. These are all of the books on my TBR list that, you know, I have, and so it's like, I think I'll feel a lot better once I've gone through all of these, and it's good to set yourself a challenge sometimes. And, you know, I think when I buy these books, I imagine like the person I'll become after I'm done reading them, and that person just sits in my imagination and hasn't read the books yet. So I want to get through all of them. So let's make it a little challenge. But the books I'm reading right now obviously are not in these stacks because I'm actively reading them. So let's introduce ourselves to those now. These are the ones that are like kind of first on the list because I'm actively reading them. First, I'm working on reading through the Harry Potter series again, kind of not on purpose. I was in Switzerland and went to this bookstore because I wanted to, and they had these illustrated copies of Harry Potter that had the British spellings in them, and I was like, I kind of want that. But actually, I was kind of on the hunt for Harry Potter books because the ones that I read as a kid are shared copies across both of all of my siblings. And so I will not get to keep them when I am a full adult and they get moved out of this house. So I need my own collection. So I kind of started looking for some, and then I found the first one in Switzerland and read it in a day, and then found the second one and read that really quickly. And now I'm on book 5, The Order of the Phoenix. This one is very long, but it's really good. It's like the first one's so sweet, and then once you get into this part, you're like, oh, these are really like actual books now. So I'm reading that, making progress. Next one is A Darker Wilderness, Black Nature Writing from Soil to Stars. This is published by Milkweed Editions. I read a couple of these for a class, but wanted to read the whole book, so I have like 3 essays left in here. There we go. 44 books. How exciting. So the challenge is to read 44 books, finish all of the books that I own. Well, I might not finish all of them, like, if I really cannot get through something, it's fine, but we're gonna at least try out them, and probably, like, I'm gonna finish most of them, but this is gonna take a while, so, buckle up and get ready to read. And now I gotta finish Order of the Phoenix and this essay collection. Okay, thank you for spending this time with me. See you in the next video when I'm reading a book. Bye!